Hi everybody, it's Julia, your travel expert from Matheson Travel, helping you find that je ne sais quoi all around the world. And this week, I wanted to ask if you are a procrastinator like me. Unfortunately, it's only about 3 weeks before I arrive in Croatia, and I am still finalizing my trip. So are you planning last minute trips or thinking about a last minute trip? I wanted to give you a few tips about what you need to know if you are planning last minute. You know, there are some bad sides, but there are also some possibilities. It's not impossible to plan last minute, is the point of this video. So some of the things that you need to worry about when you're planning last minute, and first let me define last minute. Last minute means, you know, within 2 months, within 60 days of when you're going to travel. You know, 45 days is really kind of the limit. You know, sometimes I actually even had a client recently that planned within 30 days of going over to Europe even, and so that's the window I'm talking about, within 2 months. The problem, there are risks with waiting that long to plan trips. You know, obviously, if you're looking at doing a guided tour or escorted tour, or a cruise or something like that, a river cruise, the availability is going to be the hardest thing. I mean, some of these trips from these reputable companies like Talc or G Adventures, you know, they sell out months in advance, sometimes even a year ahead of time, depending on the trip and the amount of demand for the trip. I know I was hoping to do a G Adventure sailing trip through Croatia, but I waited too long. I had very limited dates that I could do it on. In fact, there was really one date that I could do it on, and I waited too long and it sold out. So I'm not doing that anymore, and that's okay, but that's what happens when you wait too long and you want to do something organized. When you're doing something independently, which is what I'm going to end up doing in Croatia, what happens when you wait late to book at the last minute is the best hotels are going to be booked up, or you know, you're not going to have the kind of room that you want, or you know, the location that you want. You know, when you're booking independently, to me, location of the hotel is the most important thing, and you know, that's something that I'm really worried about. I think I'm gonna get in under the wire in most of the places in Croatia, but like I said, I'm still finalizing everything, so that's definitely one of the riskier things about booking last minute, is being able to book the hotel that you want in the location that you want. My client that was he's going to Paris, which is actually lucky for him because his first choice hotel wasn't available, but Paris has 8 bazillion hotels, and so there was one right around the corner, similar style, similar price, same price, that was available that we were able to get him into. But that's one of the big risks that you run into. The other risk that you run into, obviously, is cost. And this is really more to do with the flight over there. Like I said, this client booked his flight, I think, even within 30 days of his departure, and it was not exorbitantly expensive. It was right in line, actually, with what the airfares have been averaging all year. You know, just a round trip flight to Paris from the East Coast was a little bit over $1,500. So, you know, that's not the best deal that you can find, obviously, and you want to try and book your air 45 days at least before you depart. But, you know, you're not always going to have, you know, $5,000 flights or something just because you book a little bit later or a little bit closer to your departure. But that is a risk. One thing I do want to dispel, one myth I want to dispel, is there is the sense that if you wait till the last minute, you know, they're begging to get rid of the, you know, the room on the cruise or a cabin on a cruise or something like that, and you might get a really great deal. That's not really the case anymore, because a lot of you know, trips like river cruises, some of the bigger cruises around the Med and stuff like that, I mean, they fill out, they sell out, and cruises are less and less offering those sort of last minute fill the ship up rates to get you on the cruise. So I would not depend on those sort of last minute deals. They do exist, but not always, and I wouldn't depend on them. So what about booking at the last minute is good? Well, if you have flexibility either on your date or on the order of, you know, an independent trip that you might be doing, you might be able to move things around and make it work even at the last minute. You know, it also allows you to sort of see how things are shaking out in your life. Maybe you're not sure, you think you want to go somewhere in September, but you got to wait and see what happens with this, or if, you know, you get time off at work or whatever it is. So you're not really sure until later on. So that's something about last minute travel that I want to let you know, that it is possible. And if you're not sure if you're going to get the time off or get childcare or whatever it may be, you can wait a couple, until a couple months before going somewhere to actually book it. And there are, like I said, don't depend on it, but there are some times, on the river cruise I was on last year, one of the couples that was there, they booked, let's see, we were in June, I think they booked in March or April for a June river cruise, and they just got lucky because there did happen to be a cancellation, and so there was one cabin left on that ship that was available. And there is a lot of ships on the rivers now, especially like the Rhine and the Danube, some of the more popular routes for river cruising, and so there are lots of different companies that you can choose. So maybe you might not get the best company, the one you really wanted, but there may be other availability. So sometimes you can get lucky and get on one of those last empty cruise cabins, excuse me. So I just wanted to sort of reiterate that, if you're flexible, if you've got a little bit of wiggle room, or if you get lucky, planning your travel last minute is not always impossible. It's not a terrible idea. I always recommend booking ahead of time, because then you've got more time to plan, you're more relaxed, you're going to get the exact cabin you want, the exact hotel you want, the exact room you want, maybe you want a suite, so that you definitely want to book ahead of time, far in advance. But if you're a little bit more flexible and you don't really care and you just want to go to Paris to see the sights, it's definitely possible, even 30 days ahead of time or less. So that's it for this week. I will talk to you next week from Europe. Bye-bye.